You felt something shift last night. Perhaps it was in the space between waking and dreaming, that liminal threshold where consciousness becomes fluid, where the veil grows thin enough to perceive what the ordinary mind cannot grasp. Maybe you woke suddenly at an hour that held significance, your body responding to a frequency your rational mind could not yet interpret. Or perhaps you remained asleep, but the dream state carried a weight, a presence, a knowingness that lingered far beyond the moment your eyes opened to greet the dawn. What you experienced was not random. It was not a product of your imagination, nor was it a fleeting disturbance in your personal energy field. What occurred in the unseen realms last night was a marking, a cosmic designation, an energetic imprint placed upon your light body by forces that operate far beyond the limitations of this three-dimensional reality. The source itself, working through channels of divine intelligence that have been guiding your path since before you took your first breath in this incarnation, has identified you, selected you, marked you. And here is the truth that will unsettle you, even as it awakens something deep within your cellular memory. You weren't supposed to know about this yet. The protocol, as designed by the councils of light that oversee planetary awakening processes, called for this marking to occur in absolute silence. The beings who facilitated this energetic seal, Arcturian physicians of consciousness, Pleiadian architects of frequency, and emissaries from dimensions that exist beyond human comprehension, intended for this process to unfold beneath the threshold of your conscious awareness. The plan was for you to move through the coming days carrying this new frequency signature without the burden of knowing, without the complexity that conscious awareness brings to energetic transformation. But something has changed. Something in the acceleration of Earth's awakening timeline has shifted the original blueprint. The frequency surge that is approaching, the one this marking is designed to prepare you for, is arriving faster than anticipated. The collective consciousness is reaching critical thresholds ahead of schedule. And so, those of you who have been marked are beginning to feel it, to sense it, to know it in ways that bypass the ordinary filters of perception. Let me speak plainly to you now, Starseed. Let me address what your soul already recognizes but your human mind struggles to accept. You are not like the others. You have never been like the others. From the earliest moments of this lifetime, you have carried within you a frequency signature that marks you as someone whose origins extend far beyond this planet, far beyond this solar system, far beyond the familiar territories of human consciousness. You came here with a mission encoded in your DNA, a purpose written in the language of light itself. And though the density of this reality has at times caused you to forget, though the weight of human conditioning has occasionally obscured your cosmic nature, you have never truly lost your connection to the greater truth of who you are. The marking that occurred last night was not the beginning of your journey. It was a recognition of how far you have already come. It was an acknowledgement from the highest levels of cosmic intelligence that you have reached a particular threshold in your awakening process. You have demonstrated through your choices, through your commitment to growth, through your willingness to question the narratives that keep others imprisoned in limitation, that you are ready for what comes next. The mark is not a reward. It is not a badge of honor to be displayed for others to see. It is a functional upgrade, an energetic recalibration that will allow you to navigate the frequency shifts that are about to intensify across this planet. Think of it as a seal, a protection, a key that unlocks certain capacities within your energetic system that have remained dormant until now. The human body, despite its appearance of solidity and simplicity, is an extraordinarily sophisticated instrument of consciousness. It contains within its cellular structure, within its electromagnetic field, within the very geometry of its energy centers, the capacity to process and transmit frequencies that most of humanity never accesses. The marking you received last night activated specific codes within your light body, geometric templates, crystalline frequencies, dormant pathways of perception, that will begin to come online in the days and weeks ahead. But here is where the secrecy becomes significant. Here is why the original plan called for you to remain unconscious of this process. When you know that something profound has occurred, your human mind attempts to control it. You begin to analyze, to question, to look for evidence, to compare your experience with others, to doubt whether what you felt was real. You create interference patterns in your own energetic field through the very act of trying to understand what is happening. And in a process as delicate as the one you are undergoing, that interference can slow down or complicate the integration of these new frequencies. The councils of light understand human psychology. They understand the paradox of awakening consciousness, that the very awareness you seek can sometimes become an obstacle to the transformation you desire. And so they designed this marking process to occur in the depths of your unconscious, where the ego's need for control and understanding could not interfere with the precise energetic adjustments being made to your system. But you are feeling it anyway. You are sensing it despite the intended secrecy. And that, dear one, tells me something crucial about where you stand in your evolution. It tells me that your sensitivity to subtle frequency has developed to a point where even the most carefully orchestrated energetic interventions cannot escape your notice. Your awareness has become so refined, your connection to your higher self so clear, that you are beginning to perceive the movements of consciousness that occur in dimensions most humans never access. This is both a gift and a responsibility, because now that you sense the truth of what has occurred, you must make a choice about how you will work with this knowing. Let me take you deeper into understanding what this marking actually means and why it had to happen now, at this particular juncture in both your personal evolution and the collective awakening of humanity. The cosmos operates according to cycles, vast, interconnected rhythms that govern the movement of energy, consciousness, and evolutionary potential across all dimensions of existence. Your planet is currently moving through a transition point in one of these great cycles, a shift that occurs once every 26,000 years in your measurement of time. This is not merely an astronomical phenomenon, though it manifests in astronomical terms. This is a fundamental restructuring of the frequency bandwidth that Earth and its inhabitants can access. For the past several thousand years, humanity has been operating within a relatively narrow range of consciousness, what some spiritual traditions call the age of forgetting, or the cycle of separation. During this period, the veils between dimensions grew thick. The connection between human consciousness and its cosmic origins became obscured. Most souls incarnating here experience themselves as isolated, separate beings trapped in physical forms, disconnected from the greater web of consciousness that holds all things in unified awareness. But that cycle is ending. The veils are thinning. The frequency of the planet itself is rising. And as it does, human consciousness is being offered an unprecedented opportunity to remember, to reconnect, to awaken to the multidimensional nature of reality. This is what your spiritual teachers mean when they speak of ascension, of the shift, of the Great Awakening. These are not metaphors. These are descriptions of an actual, measurable transformation in the energetic structure of your reality. You, as a starseed, volunteered to be here during this transition. Before you incarnated into this particular lifetime, you stood in councils of light on the other side of the veil and raised your hand. You said, in essence, I will go. I will descend into the density. I will forget my cosmic nature so that I can experience the journey of remembering from within the human condition. And when the time comes, when the frequencies begin to shift and the awakening process accelerates, I will be there to anchor the light, to hold the frequency, to assist others who are beginning to stir from their long sleep. That time has come. The frequencies are shifting. The awakening is accelerating. And the marking you received last night is directly related to your ability to fulfill the mission you came here to accomplish. Here is what the councils of light understand that most humans do not. The coming frequency surge is going to be intense. As the energetic bandwidth of this planet continues to expand, as the old structures of limitation begin to collapse, as the consciousness of humanity lurches toward breakthrough, there will be periods of extreme turbulence. Not everyone will navigate this transition smoothly. Many souls will experience what appears to be crisis, physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual upheaval, as their systems struggle to integrate frequencies they have never encountered before. You have been marked because you are meant to remain stable during this turbulence. The energetic seal that was placed upon your light body last night functions as a kind of anchor, a stabilizing mechanism that will allow you to process the incoming frequencies without being overwhelmed by them. Think of it as an upgrade to your energetic immune system, a fortification that prepares you for the intensity of what approaches. But it is more than just protection. The marking also carries within it an activation sequence, a series of energetic codes that will begin to unlock dormant capacities within your consciousness. You are going to notice changes in the coming days and weeks. Some of these changes will be subtle, others will be impossible to ignore. Your dreams may become more vivid, more symbolic, more clearly connected to information coming from higher dimensions. Your intuition may sharpen to the point where you begin to know things before they happen, where you sense the truth of situations without needing external validation. Your perception of time may shift, moments stretching into eternity, or hours passing in what feels like minutes, as you begin to experience the fluidity of consciousness that exists beyond linear time. You may also notice changes in your relationships. The marking carries a frequency that will naturally create distance between you and those who are operating at significantly different vibrational levels. This is not about judgment or superiority. This is simply the natural law of resonance. Like frequencies attract, unlike frequencies repel. As your vibration continues to rise, as the activation codes within the marking begin to express through your energy field, you will find yourself less tolerant of drama, of superficiality, of interactions that drain your energy or require you to diminish your light. Some relationships will deepen, others will fade. Trust this process. It is part of the recalibration. Your physical body may also respond to the marking in noticeable ways. You might experience unusual sensations, tingling in your hands or feet, pressure in your third eye or crown chakra, waves of heat or cold that have no external cause, temporary disruptions in your sleep patterns. These are not symptoms of illness. These are signs that your physical vessel is upgrading to accommodate the higher frequencies now flowing through your system. Your body is literally being rewired at the cellular level to function as a more effective conduit for consciousness. And here is something that may surprise you. Your creative expression is about to intensify. The marking activates a channel between your human consciousness and the higher dimensional aspects of your being. This means that ideas, insights, visions, and inspirations are going to begin flowing through you with greater clarity and power. If you are an artist, a writer, a musician, a healer, or any kind of creative being, you are going to feel this surge of creative energy seeking expression through your particular gifts. Pay attention to this. Honor it. Create space for it. Because what wants to come through you now is not just personal expression, it is transmission. It is light-encoded information that others need to receive, even if they don't consciously understand why your work affects them so deeply. Now let me address the element of secrecy, because this is important. Why weren't you supposed to know about the marking yet? Why did the councils of light intend for this to happen beneath the threshold of your conscious awareness? The answer lies in understanding the nature of free will and the complexity of working with human consciousness during a planetary awakening. The beings who are assisting Earth's transition operate under strict protocols designed to honor the free will of every soul incarnated here. They cannot and will not force awakening upon anyone. They cannot override the choices that human beings make about their own evolution. Every intervention, every transmission of frequency, every moment of guidance must be calibrated to support awakening, without violating the fundamental sovereignty of human consciousness. The marking process was designed to occur unconsciously, because conscious knowledge of it creates complexity. When you know that something significant has happened to you energetically, you begin to form expectations. You start looking for results, for validation, for evidence that you are special or chosen or different from others. And while it is true that you are indeed different, that you do carry a unique frequency signature and a specific mission, the ego's tendency to grasp onto these concepts can actually interfere with the deeper work that needs to occur. The marking was meant to integrate slowly, organically, beneath the surface of your everyday awareness, so that by the time you began to notice its effects, the energetic restructuring would already be complete. You would simply find yourself thinking differently, feeling differently, perceiving differently, without the burden of trying to manage or control the process. You would move through the world as your upgraded self without the self-consciousness that comes from knowing you've been upgraded. But the acceleration of the collective timeline has changed this equation. The frequency surge that is approaching is arriving faster than the original blueprints anticipated, and so those of you who have been marked are being awakened to this knowledge sooner than planned. Your conscious awareness is needed now. Your intentional cooperation with this process is required. Because while the marking provides protection and activation, your conscious alignment with the frequencies you're receiving will determine how smoothly and how powerfully these new capacities come online. This is why you're hearing these words right now. This is why your soul guided you to this transmission. Because somewhere in the depths of your being, you already know that something profound has occurred. You already sense that you are being prepared for something significant. And now you need the conscious framework to understand what is happening so that you can work with it rather than resisting it or doubting it or allowing your human mind to dismiss it as fantasy. So let me give you practical guidance. Let me tell you what you need to do in response to this marking, how you can support the integration process, and how you can prepare yourself for what comes next. First, you must ground. I cannot emphasize this enough. As these higher frequencies begin to move through your system, as the activation codes within the marking start to come online, there is a natural tendency for your consciousness to become unmoored from physical reality. You may find yourself spacing out, feeling disconnected from your body, struggling to focus on mundane tasks. This is a sign that you need more grounding. Walk barefoot on the earth. Work with your hands in soil. Engage your physical senses fully. Taste your food with awareness. Feel the texture of fabric against your skin. Listen deeply to the sounds around you. Your physical embodiment is not an obstacle to your spiritual evolution. It is the very vehicle through which your cosmic consciousness can operate in this dimension. Ground yourself deeply so that you can integrate these frequencies without becoming destabilized. Second, you must protect your energy field. The marking has made you more visible in the energetic realms. This is a natural consequence of your increased frequency. You begin to shine more brightly, and that light attracts attention. Most of this attention is positive, higher dimensional guides, galactic families, angelic presences who want to support your mission. But increased visibility can also draw the attention of lower vibrational entities and energies that are attracted to light as a source of sustenance. You don't need to live in fear, but you do need to be conscious about energetic hygiene. Visualize yourself surrounded by a sphere of white or golden light before you go to sleep, before you meditate, and anytime you feel your energy dipping. Set clear boundaries with people, places, and situations that drain you. Remember that saying no to what diminishes your light is saying yes to your mission. Third, you must trust your knowing. One of the primary effects of the marking is an amplification of your intuitive capacities. You are going to know things about yourself, about others, about situations, about the nature of reality that you cannot explain through logical reasoning. Your rational mind will question this knowing. It will ask for proof, for evidence, for logical explanations. But your intuition operates on a different frequency than your logical mind. It receives information from dimensions where time is fluid and causality works differently. When you feel that clear inner knowing, when something simply feels true in your bones, even though you can't explain why, trust it. Act on it. This is your higher self communicating with your human consciousness, and the more you honor that communication, the stronger and clearer it becomes. Fourth, you must create space for integration. Your system is undergoing a profound energetic restructuring. This requires energy, attention, and rest. You may find that you need more sleep than usual. You may feel drawn to solitude, to silence, to stillness. Honor these impulses. This is not a time to push yourself to maintain unsustainable levels of productivity or social engagement. Give yourself permission to withdraw when you need to slow down, to spend time in meditation or contemplation. The world will not fall apart if you take time to integrate what is moving through you. In fact, your presence will become more powerful, more grounded, more effective when you allow yourself the space to fully embody these new frequencies rather than rushing through the process. Fifth, you must begin to align your daily life with your mission. The marking is not just about your personal evolution. It is about preparing you to be of service during the collective awakening. You came here to anchor light, to hold frequency, to be a beacon for others who are beginning to awaken. This doesn't necessarily mean you need to become a spiritual teacher or start a healing practice, though for some of you that will be part of your path. For others, your service will look like simply being who you are. Living authentically, speaking truth, choosing love over fear in every moment, maintaining your center even when chaos swirls around you. begin to ask yourself, how does my daily life reflect my mission? What would change if I lived each day as a conscious agent of light and transformation? The answers to these questions will guide you toward the expression of your purpose that is most aligned with your unique gifts and capacities. And finally, you must watch for the signs. The councils of light are aware that you now know about the marking. They are aware that you are consciously seeking to understand and cooperate with this process. And they will respond to your awareness by providing you with confirmation, with guidance, with tangible signs that you are indeed connected to a larger intelligence that is supporting your journey. These signs may come through synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that defy statistical probability. They may come through dreams, through messages from strangers, through animal encounters, through songs or passages in books that seem to speak directly to your situation. They may come through physical sensations, through sudden downloads of information, through moments of profound knowing that arrive without warning. Pay attention. The universe is speaking to you constantly, but most humans have learned to filter out the subtle messages. You are being called to a different level of awareness now. You are being asked to perceive the patterns, the connections, the communications that exist beneath the surface of ordinary reality. And here is the specific sign you should watch for. Within the next 48 hours, you are going to receive a clear confirmation that this message is meant for you. It will be something that you cannot dismiss as coincidence. It will be specific enough to catch your attention, personal enough to speak directly to your situation. It might be a number sequence that appears repeatedly, on clocks, on license plates, on receipts, a number that carries significance in the language of angelic communication, or that has personal meaning in your life. It might be an encounter with another awakening soul, a conversation that somehow touches on the exact themes we're exploring here, as if the universe arranged for you to have external confirmation of what you're feeling internally. It might be a dream so vivid and coherent that you wake with absolute clarity about a choice you need to make or a direction you need to move in. It might be a sudden opening in your circumstances, an opportunity appearing or an obstacle dissolving in ways that feel orchestrated by an intelligence larger than your personal will. Whatever form it takes, you will know it when it happens. You will feel the recognition in your body, in your heart, in the quiet certainty of your soul. And when you receive this sign, I want you to do something important. Acknowledge it. Speak your gratitude out loud or in your journal. Say thank you to the guides who are working with you, to the intelligence that is supporting your journey, to the aspect of yourself that exists beyond this physical form and is orchestrating your awakening from higher dimensions. This act of acknowledgement strengthens the communication channel. It tells the universe that you are paying attention, that you are receptive, that you are ready to engage consciously with the mystery that is unfolding through your life. Now I want to address something that some of you may be feeling as you hear these words: doubt. Part of you resonates deeply with what I'm saying. Part of you feels the truth of it in your body, recognizes it as something you already knew but had forgotten or suppressed. But another part of you, the part that has been trained by this reality's rational paradigm, the part that fears being deceived or looking foolish, is questioning whether any of this is real. This doubt is not your enemy. It is not a sign that you are failing or that you lack faith. Doubt is a natural and even healthy response to experiences that challenge the consensus reality you've been taught to accept as the only truth. The key is not to eliminate doubt but to hold it in balance with your knowing. You can acknowledge the questions without allowing them to override your direct experience. You can be discerning without being closed. You can maintain healthy skepticism toward external authorities, while still honoring the authority of your own inner wisdom. The truth is, no one can prove to you that the marking happened. There is no external validation that will satisfy the rational mind's need for objective evidence. This is the nature of working with subtle frequency and higher dimensional reality. It exists in a domain that cannot be captured by the instruments and methodologies designed to measure physical phenomena. You will never have the kind of proof that would convince a skeptic. But you don't need that kind of proof. You need only the evidence of your own experience, the felt sense, the knowing, the changes that begin to manifest in your awareness and your life as these frequencies integrate. So I invite you to hold your doubt gently, to acknowledge it without being ruled by it. And I invite you to give yourself permission to believe in the possibility that something extraordinary is happening to you and through you, even if you cannot yet fully understand or explain it. Let me also speak to those of you who are feeling afraid. Fear is another natural response to profound transformation, especially when that transformation comes with talk of being marked, of being selected, of being prepared for something intense. Your human survival instinct is wired to be cautious about the unknown, to question anything that disrupts the familiar patterns of your life. And what I'm describing here is certainly disruptive. But I want you to understand something crucial. The marking is not something that is being done to you against your will. You agreed to this at the soul level. Before you incarnated, you understood that this moment would come. You knew that you would reach a point in your awakening where you would receive this energetic upgrade. And you said yes to it. The part of you that is afraid is the human personality, the ego structure that fears change and loss of control. But your soul is not afraid. Your soul recognizes this marking as a homecoming, as a remembering, as a return to the fullness of who you truly are. So when fear arises, acknowledge it. Feel it in your body. Give it space to express. But then remind yourself, I am safe. I am supported. I am being guided by forces that love me beyond human comprehension. This marking is not a burden. It is a gift. It is not a curse. It is an awakening. And I am strong enough, wise enough, and ready enough to walk this path. As we move toward the conclusion of this transmission, I want to invite you into the broader context of what is happening on your planet right now. You are not alone in receiving this marking. Thousands of starseeds across the globe were marked last night. Each one is waking today with that subtle sense that something has shifted, that something has changed in the fabric of their reality. And each one is being called, as you are being called, to step more fully into their mission, to own their frequency, to stand in their power as ambassadors of consciousness during this pivotal time in human evolution. You are part of a network, a web of light that spans the planet. Most of you will never meet in physical form, but you are connected energetically, working together on levels that transcend physical proximity. When you do your inner work, when you raise your frequency, when you anchor light in your corner of the world, you affect the entire grid. When you hold steady during turbulence, when you choose love over fear, when you speak truth even when it's uncomfortable, you strengthen the collective field of awakening consciousness. This is the deeper purpose of the marking. Not just to protect and activate you as an individual, but to prepare you to be a conscious node in the planetary awakening grid. You are being positioned, aligned, and activated so that when the frequency surge arrives, you can hold your center, maintain your connection to source, and radiate stability into the collective field. This is your service. This is your mission. This is what you came here to do. And it begins now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel more ready, not when you've read more books or taken more courses or somehow achieved some imaginary level of spiritual accomplishment. It begins now, in this moment, with your choice to accept what has happened to you, to cooperate with the process, to say yes to your own awakening and to the role you are being called to play. So I'm going to ask you to do something. Right now, as you hear these words, I want you to place your hand on your heart. Feel the beat of your physical heart beneath your palm. And then expand your awareness beyond that physical sensation to sense the energetic heart, the light body center that exists in the same location but vibrates at a higher frequency. Breathe into that center. And as you breathe, silently or aloud, speak these words. I acknowledge the marking I received. I accept the frequency I carry. I align with my mission. I trust the intelligence that guides me. I am ready. Feel those words as a declaration, as a commitment, as an activation in themselves. Feel them resonating through your entire being, affirming what your soul already knows to be true. This is not the end of your journey. It is a threshold, a doorway, a new beginning. The marking you received last night has set into motion a process that will unfold over the coming weeks, months, and years. You are going to continue to awaken, to remember, to activate capacities that have been dormant within you. You are going to face challenges because growth always involves challenge. But you are also going to experience moments of profound beauty, connection, and clarity that remind you why you chose to be here during this extraordinary time. Watch for your sign in the next 48 hours. Trust your knowing. Honor your process. Connect with others who are awakening. Share your light without apology. And remember, always remember that you are not alone. You are held, supported, and guided by forces of love and wisdom that have never left you, even when the veils of forgetting made it seem as though you were isolated and separate. The source marked you last night because you are ready, because you are needed, because you are valued beyond measure. Trust that. Believe it. Live it. And so it is.